The hour is flowing away. There used to be a tiny clock in my room with whom I formed a tense rivalry. At night, its constant ticking became unbearable, and I would wait for sleep, fuming at the audacity of this object to remind me of the seconds passing. Eventually, I upgraded to a wonderfully silent digital clock that allowed time to flow by unnoticed. Finally, I was able to take away this pesky clock's life power, its battery, and bury it away in a drawer, frozen in its time of death until now. All hours wound, the last one kills. Desire paths are created from the erosion caused by the repeated use of a shortcut. Some people think of desire paths as a representation of our rebellion against the constraints of paved walkways. Perhaps I am a pessimist, but I view them as proof of our lack of agency, a representation of the anxiety that time's passage causes in us. Make haste, but slowly. Of course, how can we not worry and wonder about time when we are constantly reminiscing about the past and anticipating the future? Physicists claim the difference between past and future can only be perceived at the atomic level. At its most minute scale, time is change. It's the constant imperceptible shifts in particles that increase the entropy of our world and cause change to occur. Time flees like a shadow. Over the summer, when time seems to act more bizarrely than whenever else, I make frequent visits to the nearby beach. This past summer, every time I made a visit, no matter the time of day, I would see a man moving along the beach, sometimes walking, sometimes running, always wearing a white button-down shirt and always there. I wondered what he was doing. Why did he choose to spend his entire summer walking the same stretch over and over again? But who am I to judge? I spend hours at a time combing through my hair, picking out the split ends that have formed. Use the hours, don't count them. I have a friend who spends his spare hours solving his Rubik's Cube. He has the algorithm of twists and turns memorized by now. The aim for him is no longer simply to solve the cube, but to solve it as fast as possible. This doesn't mean he spends less time solving the cube. It only means he can solve it more times in the same period. What I find funny is that he starts and ends with the cube solved. Nothing has changed apart from the knowledge that he has solved it in the time that has passed. Similarly, my efforts to eradicate my split ends only cause more splits to form. A session of removals yields about the same amount of new split ends as what was picked out. Why do we spend time on things that result in only microscopic changes? Life flows away as it seems to stay the same. Perhaps this is what led my beach man to spend his days walking. A couple of laps, and all there is to prove to himself that he did them is some slight weariness. But 100 laps, and he can confirm from the color of the sky and the shifts of scenery that time has passed, that something has changed. Thus passes a lifetime. One of the oldest methods of telling time is the sundial. Traditionally, sundials are inscribed with the motto about time, an attempt to capture the feeling and effect of its passage in a single phrase. I find that time can be epitomized by a simple desire path, a somewhat unproductive effort to save time that occurs so often that time leaves behind a trace of its presence. They are the representation of our anxiety over time and the effects of time itself. Proof that it has as much of a hold on us as we do on it.